The asteroid field was endless, jagged rocks drifting in silence, their sharp edges catching the faint light of a distant star. In the middle of that cold darkness floated something far larger than any asteroid. A ship. At first glance, it looked like a dead piece of metal. Its hull was torn in several places, huge scars running along its surface. Burn marks told of battles long past. The once smooth armor was now cracked and broken, like the skin of some ancient beast. One of its massive engines was missing entirely. The others frozen in place, dark and lifeless. For centuries, it had been there. Alien scavengers passed it by, calling it a relic, an artifact from a forgotten war. Some told stories about how it came to be here, destroyed in the last battle of an ancient empire, cursed by its final crew, haunted by the ghosts of the dead. But no one dared to go inside. On a small observation station near the edge of the field, Captain Rafe Morgan stood by the viewing glass, staring at the wreck. His crew was small, just a handful of human explorers and engineers. The station's alien manager had laughed when Morgan requested permission to study the ship. "It's a lump of metal," the alien had said. "Nothing more. It hasn't moved in 1,000 years. You humans waste your time." But Morgan didn't look away. Something about the ship felt different. He couldn't explain it. He just knew. 2 days later, their shuttle drifted through the asteroid field, weaving between massive rocks until the wreck filled their view. Even dead and broken, it was enormous. A warship built for destruction. Its cannons were shattered, its armor pitted with holes, but the shape of it spoke of power. The shuttle docked with one of the old airlocks. It took hours to force the door open. Inside, the air was cold and stale. Their footsteps echoed through empty corridors. The walls were covered in strange markings, faded with time. Dust floated in the still air, disturbed only by their movements. Every so often, the faint flicker of a dead light panel gave them a momentary glimpse of the ship's past. Wide halls once filled with crew, command rooms that once buzzed with voices. Kara Voss, Morgan's second in command, walked beside him, scanning with her handheld device. "Power's gone," she said. "Not even emergency lights. It's just a tomb now." Morgan ran his fingers over the wall, feeling the cold metal beneath his gloves. "Maybe," he said quietly, "or maybe it's sleeping." The deeper they went, the stranger it became. Some doors were locked tight, their mechanisms fused. Others stood open to reveal empty rooms, stripped bare. And then they found the bridge. It was a wide circular chamber with a cracked viewing screen that looked out into the asteroid field. The control panels were dark, covered in dust. A single captain's chair sat at the center, bolted to the floor. Morgan approached it slowly. The lever was cracked and stiff, but something about the seat felt waiting. Kara's scanner beeped once, then again. She frowned. "That's strange. I'm getting a faint energy reading." Deep in the core, Morgan turned. "How faint?" "Barely. There, like a pulse." They followed the readings through twisting corridors until they reached the engineering deck. Most of the machinery was silent and broken, but at the heart of the room stood the ship's reactor, a massive sphere of black metal, surrounded by dead consoles. And then they heard it, a low hum so soft they thought it might be their imaginations. But it was there, steady, deep, like a heartbeat far below the surface. Kara's eyes widened. "Captain, this ship shouldn't have any power left. None." Morgan stepped closer to the reactor. The metal was cold, but he swore he could feel something under his fingertips. "It's alive," he whispered. They left that night, but Morgan's mind didn't leave the ship. Back on the station, alien traders laughed at their report. An energy pulse. It's just decay from old systems. That wreck is dead. Always will be. But Morgan wasn't convinced. He called in more human engineers, bringing equipment to restore basic systems, lights, air, gravity. Slowly, piece by piece, the dead ship began to breathe again. The aliens mocked them for weeks. The humans think they can fix a ghost, they said. What next? Will they teach it to talk? Then came the storm. A magnetic surge swept through. The asteroid field, a natural event that happened only once every few decades. The station went on emergency power, and all ships in the area shut down non-essential systems. From the observation deck, Morgan watched the wreck. Lightning-like arcs danced across the asteroid field, blue-white flashes cutting through the darkness. And then, in the middle of that storm, the warship changed. It started with a flicker of light along the hull, faint, almost invisible. Then another, brighter. Lines of energy traced across the armor like veins coming alive. The broken engines glowed dimly, their cores heating for the first time in centuries. And deep inside, in the dark engineering deck, the black reactor pulsed. Faster, a steady, living rhythm. On the bridge, long-dead consoles lit up one by one. Dust fell from the ceiling as the ship shuddered, systems waking from their long sleep. Morgan's cum crackled. It wasn't connected to the station. It wasn't connected to any human device. The voice that spoke was mechanical, calm, and unmistakably ancient. "Welcome back, Commander." Morgan froze. Kara turned toward him, her face pale. "Captain, it's talking to you." The lights across the hull brightened, casting a golden glow into the asteroid field. Slowly, with a groan of stressed metal, the massive warship turned, facing toward the stars, as if remembering where it was supposed to go. And for the first time in 1,000 years, the human warship awoke. The moment the voice spoke, the ship went quiet again, but not dead. It was a different kind of quiet now, the way a sleeping predator waits before opening its eyes. The faint hum from the reactor was steady, deliberate, almost as if the ship was breathing. Captain Rafe Morgan stood in the engineering deck, still staring at the black sphere at the center. His crew worked nervously around him, unsure if they should keep going or run back to the station. Kara Voss checked her readings again. "It's online," she said slowly. "Not fully, but enough. The systems aren't random anymore. They're responding to something." Morgan didn't look at her. Not something. Someone. Back on the station, word spread quickly. Alien traders and workers crowded the windows facing the asteroid field, watching the strange glow along the wreck's hull. Some made bets on how long it would last before collapsing. Others whispered about curses and ghost ships, but none of them dared to go near it. The next morning, Morgan ordered his crew back aboard. This time, the airlock opened for them without effort. The corridors inside were no longer completely dark. Soft golden lights glowed along the walls, guiding them deeper into the ship. Doors that had once been sealed now slid open with a low hiss. The air was warmer. "It's repairing itself," Kara said, touching the smooth wall. "These panels, they were dented yesterday. Now they're perfect." The bridge was brighter than before. The captain's chair sat in the center, waiting. Morgan walked to it, feeling a strange pull, as if the ship wanted him there. The moment he sat down, the main viewing screen lit up. Symbols and text in an unknown language filled the display, shifting rapidly until they resolved into clear human-readable words. System boot, complete primary commander, recognized mission. Priority, CLOC, Sci-fi frowned. Commander, did you see that? Morgan leaned forward. Yes, and I think it means me. He placed his hand on the armrest. A panel opened, revealing a biometric scanner. Without thinking, he pressed his palm against it. The ship emitted a low tone, and more systems came alive. Throughout the decks, engines coughed and groaned, power conduits thrummed, and hidden machinery moved for the first time in centuries. On the engineering deck, a technician shouted over, "Come, Captain. The reactor output just doubled, and I think it's storing the excess power somewhere, not in the main grid, somewhere else." Morgan's eyes narrowed. Weapons? Before they could investigate further, an alarm flashed on the display. An incoming signal, encrypted, not council, and not friendly. Kara's fingers flew across the console. It's an alien scout ship. Unknown faction. Closing fast. Morgan stood. How long until they reach us? Minutes. The scout's message came through, filled with static, but still understandable. Claiming vessel, leave or be destroyed. Morgan looked at Kara. It's not ready for battle. Kara gave him a sharp look. Neither are we. But the ship seemed to think differently. Without their input, the bridge consoles lit up in crimson combat mode. The targeting systems activated. A map of the asteroid field appeared, showing possible attack vectors. Captain Kara said, "Slowly, it's making a battle plan." The scout ship dropped into visual range, sleek and armed. It moved toward them with the confidence of a predator about to kill an easy target. The warship shifted. It was subtle, almost lazy, but the movement was deliberate. Panels slid open along the hull, revealing ancient but deadly-looking weapons. "Who's giving those orders?" Kara asked. Morgan looked at the glowing console under his hand. "I think it's asking me for permission." The console's display pulsed. "Engage." Morgan hesitated for only a second. Engage. The first shot was silent, but its effect was not. A beam of golden light tore through the void, slamming into the scout ship's shields. They collapsed instantly. The second shot punched a molten hole straight through its hull. The scout spun out of control, trailing fire before vanishing into the darkness. The warship powered down its weapons and returned to its slow hum, as if nothing had happened. Kara exhaled shakily. That wasn't a fight. That was an execution. Morgan leaned back in the chair, his mind racing. It's not just a ship. It's a weapon waiting for a war. The crew returned to the station, silent and unsettled. But Morgan stayed on the ship until the last possible moment. When he finally stepped off, the ship's lights dimmed, as if it were going back to sleep. Just before the airlock closed, a voice came over the internal com, the same calm, ancient voice from before. "Mission. Update. Hostile contact neutralized. Awaiting further orders." Morgan didn't respond. He just stood there, staring at the massive shape through the docking window. Whatever this warship had been built for, it was still waiting to finish the job. And for reasons he didn't understand, it had chosen him to command it. 3 days passed without incident. The asteroid field was silent again, but the warship's presence weighed heavily on the station. Everyone could feel it, like the air was thicker, the shadows deeper. Even the alien traders who used to laugh at the human wreck now kept their distance. They avoided looking at it through the windows, as if making eye contact might draw its attention. Captain Rafe Morgan spent most of those 3 days aboard the ship. He learned its corridors, its systems, its strange logic. The AI would speak only when it wanted to, and its voice was always calm, never emotional. But Morgan noticed something. It seemed to be learning him. The doors opened faster when he approached, the lights grew brighter in rooms he entered, and the consoles shifted their layouts to match his habits. Kara Voss thought it was unnerving. "It's adapting to you," she said, "like it's alive." Morgan didn't argue. "It is." On the 4th day, while the crew was running diagnostics on the reactor, the sensors detected movement at the edge of the asteroid field. At first it was just a faint ping, then another, then 5 more. Kara leaned over the display. Multiple ships inbound. Their formation is tight, military tight. Morgan studied the readings. Not council, wrong drive signatures. The AI voice came from the bridge speakers. Hostile intent detected. Probability of engagement, 93%. Within minutes, the shapes emerged from the darkness, sleek. Angular vessels painted in dull grey, each marked with a crimson emblem like a claw. They were the Korth Raiders, a mercenary faction known for raiding derelict ships, killing survivors, and selling anything of value. The lead ship hailed them. The voice was low, almost amused. "Human vessel, you are in possession of salvage claimed by the Korth Raiders. Power down and prepare to be boarded." Kara muttered, "They think we're just sitting here helpless." Morgan didn't reply. His eyes were on the console, where the AI had already displayed the question he knew was coming. Engage. The raiders moved closer, their weapons charged but not firing yet. They were confident, too confident. To them, this was just another easy kill. Morgan's voice was steady. Weapons online. All across the warship, hidden panels slid open. Cannons, launchers, and long, predatory barrels extended from the hull. Energy built along the weapon cores, casting a faint golden glow that lit up the nearby asteroids. The raiders reacted instantly. The lead ship broke formation, barking orders to the others. 2 moved to flank, 1 tried to cut off their retreat. The remaining ships opened fire. The first barrage hit the warship's shields, sending a tremor through the decks. Sparks fell from a panel above Kara's head, shields holding at 90%. She reported. Morgan's hand hovered over the controls. "Target their engines." No survivors. The warship moved like no one expected. For something so massive, it turned sharply, weaving between asteroid chunks like a predator stalking prey. The first golden beam sliced through space, hitting the flanking raider dead center. Its engine core exploded, tearing the ship apart in a silent flash of light. The second and third raiders fired together, trying to overwhelm the shields. The AI responded faster than any human could, shifting shield power dynamically, letting glancing blows slide while deflecting the heaviest fire. Morgan pointed to the tactical screen. Now, 2 torpedoes launched from beneath the warship's hull, moving so fast they were almost invisible. Both struck the lead raider, 1 in the bridge, 1 in the reactor. The detonation lit the asteroid field like a miniature sun. The remaining 3 ships broke formation, panic replacing their earlier arrogance. 1 turned to flee. The warship's main weapon tracked it effortlessly. A single pulse of golden light split the vessel clean in half. The last 2 tried to hide behind the largest asteroid in range. It didn't work. The warship fired a continuous beam, carving straight through the rock and the ships behind it in one merciless sweep. Silence returned. Only drifting debris remained. Kara sat back, her voice low. That wasn't a battle. That was slaughter. The AI spoke again, threat neutralized. Power reserves at 78%. Recommend mission continuation. Morgan ignored the recommendation for the moment. He looked out at the field of wreckage, the glowing fragments spinning slowly through the void. The raiders had been killers, fared across dozens of systems, and the warship had erased them in minutes. The "Come" unit beeped. This time, the signal was encrypted in an old military code, Earth's code. Morgan input the key, and a voice came through, crisp and direct. Captain Morgan, your actions have been noted. Proceed to the coordinates in your message queue. This takes priority over all other orders. Kara frowned. Earth's watching us. Morgan's tone was grim. They've been watching from the start. In the corner of the display, a small icon flashed a star map with a single glowing point far beyond the asteroid field. It was marked only with 2 words. Final mission. Asterisk. The warship glided through the cold, black, leaving the asteroid field and the wreckage of the Korth raiders far behind. The crew worked in silence. The victory had been absolute, but it had also been terrifying. No one said it out loud, but they all knew. This ship was not just powerful, it was something more. Captain Rafe Morgan stood on the bridge, staring at the coordinates glowing on the tactical display. The star map showed a route that cut straight across Council space, then far beyond the known borders into what maps labeled as Uncharted Sector 9. No one went there. No one returned from their dot. Kara Voss approached. Captain, we need to know where we're going before we just jump into the unknown. Morgan didn't look at her. That's exactly what we're going to find out. The AI's voice filled the bridge, calm and steady. Destination locked. Origin point classified. Estimated arrival 39 hours. Origin point, Kara repeated. What do you mean, origin point? This ship didn't come from the AI interrupted. This vessel was not built. In Council space, every head on the bridge turned toward the nearest speaker. Morgan's voice was low. Then where? This vessel was constructed by the First Alliance, 21,000 standard years ago. Crew was multi-species. Command structure required a human. Kara blinked. Human. 21,000 years ago, humans weren't even in space. Your current historical record is incomplete, the AI said without hesitation. Humanity's first age of expansion ended in war. The survivors hid your world from the galaxy. This ship was left here to await your return. The bridge went silent. The crew exchanged glances, as if unsure whether to believe the AI or fear it. Kara finally spoke. If that's true, Captain, it means humans have been here before. Long before now. Morgan absorbed the words, his mind turning. Pieces began to fit together, the ship's voice calling him commander, the way it reacted to his touch, the ancient yet human-compatible systems. Why was it left here? He asked. The AI's tone did not change. To finish the mission. The war was never concluded. Before Morgan could respond, proximity alarms blared. Kara checked the readings. We've got incoming, big. The tactical screen lit up with the signatures of multiple ships, larger than the raiders, heavily armored and moving fast. Their identification codes matched Draxian designs. A warlike empire that had been clashing with the Council for decades. They're not here by accident, Morgan said. They've been tracking us. The Draxian fleet hailed them. The voice was deep, arrogant. Human vessel, you were in possession of stolen property belonging to the Draxian Empire. Surrender it, and we will grant you a swift death. Kara scoffed. Generous. Morgan's voice was ice. Tell them no. The AI didn't wait for further orders. Combat protocols armed. Suggest preemptive strike. The first wave came fast. Plasma bolts streaked toward them, exploding against the shields in bursts of white fire. The warship absorbed the impact, its armor humming with energy redistribution. Morgan gave the order. Return fire. Target their command ship. Golden. Beams lanced out, carving deep into the Draxian flagship's hull. The enemy returned fire with everything they had. But the warship danced through space with movements no vessel of its size should be capable of. Then the Draxian fleet made a mistake. They concentrated all fire on the warship's port side, leaving their formation exposed. The AI seized the opportunity, deploying spinal weapon. The massive black and gold barrel extended from the ship's spine, charging with a light so bright it cast shadows across the bridge. When it fired, the energy beam tore through 3 enemy ships in a single shot, leaving glowing wreckage drifting in the void. The surviving Draxians broke off, retreating into the darkness. The battle was over, but the crew was shaken. Kara looked at Morgan. If they know what this ship is, others will too. Word will spread fast. Morgan nodded. Then we'd better reach that origin point before the entire galaxy is on our tail. As the ship resumed its course, the AI spoke again. Warning, enemy forces are converging on your path. Recommend activating final protocols. Kara frowned. Final protocols. What's that supposed to mean? Morgan didn't answer right away. His eyes were fixed on the stars ahead. It means whatever's waiting for us at those coordinates is worse than anything we've faced so far. In the crew quarters, whispers spread about the First Alliance, about humans returning to finish a war older than history itself. Some doubted it. Others believed every word. But one thing was certain. The warship wasn't just a relic. It was a key to something much bigger, and in the quiet hum of the engineering deck, the reactor's pulse grew faster, as if the ship knew the moment it had been waiting for was close. Asterisk, the warship entered the uncharted sector, stars giving way to a deep, dark emptiness. Even the ship's sensors struggled here. The space around them was thick with interference, like the galaxy itself wanted to hide whatever was ahead. Captain Rafe Morgan stood on the bridge, staring at the tactical display. The glowing marker for their destination was close now, just beyond a vast cloud of shimmering dust. Kara Voss stood at his side, her voice low. I don't like this. Feels like we're walking into a trap. Morgan's reply was calm but firm. We probably are. The AI's voice broke in. Approaching origin point. Hostile presence detected. The cloud parted, and the sight beyond made the crew go silent. Hanging in the void was a ship so massive it dwarfed anything they had ever seen. A dreadnought of impossible scale. Its hull was black as night, etched with glowing red lines that pulsed like veins. Kara whispered, that thing. It's bigger than a station. The AI identified it instantly. Designation, Harbinger. Flagship of the enemy fleet from the First Alliance War. Estimated firepower, sufficient to destroy a planetary system. Before anyone could speak, the Harbinger hailed them. The voice was deep, layered, and almost human. Warship Sentinel. You have returned at last, but you serve the wrong masters. Morgan's jaw tightened. I serve my crew, and we're finishing this war. The Harbinger didn't answer with words, it answered with fire. A beam of red energy streaked toward them, smashing into their shields with a force that rattled the entire ship. Lights flickered, alarms screamed. Shields at 60%. Kara shouted. Morgan didn't flinch. Bring the spine online. All power forward. The blackhand gold weapon extended, its barrel glowing with the golden light that had ended. So many battles before, it fired a beam of raw energy cutting across the void, striking the Harbinger's hull. The blast left a molten scar. But the giant didn't slow. The enemy ship launched hundreds of drones, each armed fast and shielded. They swarmed toward the warship like a cloud of deadly insects. Point defense online. Morgan barked. Turrets along the hull came alive, spitting golden tracer fire. Drones exploded in bursts of light, but more kept coming. The crew fought desperately to keep the ship from being overrun. Then the Harbinger fired again, not at them, but at the space around them. The beam sliced an asteroid in half, the explosions sending fragments smashing into their shields. Shields at 30%. Kara called out. The AI's voice was sharp now. Recommendation: activate final protocol. Morgan hesitated. They didn't know what the final protocol would do. It might save them or destroy them. Kara, he said quietly, if this doesn't work, she cut him off. It'll work. It has to. Morgan took a deep breath. AI, activate. Final protocol. In the engineering deck, the reactor's pulse became a roar. Golden light poured through the ship's conduits, every weapon charging beyond normal limits. Panels across the hull slid open to reveal hidden emitters that no one had ever seen before. The AI's voice boomed across every deck. Final protocol. Engaged. Stand by. The warship vanished. To the Harbinger, it simply blinked out of existence. A second later, it reappeared directly beneath the giant's hull. All weapons fired at once, the spine beam, the turrets, the new emitters, unleashing a storm of golden energy that ripped through the Harbinger's armor. The enemy ship shuddered, its glowing red veins flickering wildly. The warship surged forward, plunging deep into the gap it had created. At point-blank range, the spine weapon fired again, straight into the Harbinger's reactor core. The explosion was blinding. The shock wave tore through space, hurling the warship backward. Systems overloaded, shields collapsed, and the golden glow faded. When the light cleared, the Harbinger was gone. Nothing left but drifting fragments. On the bridge, the crew stared at the view screen in stunned silence. They had done it. Kara broke the silence with a tired smile. Guess that's one war over. Morgan shook his head slowly. No, that was just one battle. The AI confirmed his fear. Transmission intercepted. Multiple enemy fleets mobilizing. Estimated arrival in this sector, 12 standard days. Kara's smile faded. 12 days. That's not enough time. Morgan looked at the wreckage of the Harbinger, then at the stars beyond. His voice was steady. Then we'll make it enough. As the warship turned away from the battlefield, the AI spoke one last time. Commander, there is one more thing. The First Alliance is not entirely gone. Morgan's eyes narrowed. Then we'll find them. The ship's engines roared to life, golden light spilling from its thrusters as it jumped into the darkness. A living legend now feared by all who had seen what it could do. But somewhere in the shadows of deep space, more eyes were watching and waiting.